Hello everyone, welcome to the stream with a little bit of a walk going on. Not in Houston. Yes, thank you for the 12th. Arabin with 32. Steph with 75. Sarah with 11. McCherry with 5 in a row, thank you. Same one. Not repaired. Next, thank you for the 16th in a row. Hokey, thank you for the 12th. How did it feel to find out Manu Bennett watches my podcast? Slightly awkward because we were pretty hard on the show. Starla, thank you for the 23rd. Jennifer with 31. Flinzel with 30. Lauren with 32. Thank you all so much. So I'm on the treadmill. I finally set it up. Here's why I set it up. It's still broken. It is making some rattly, bad noises. However, I needed to get it running again so that I could contact support about it. Lena, thank you for the 51st month in a row. Sydney with 34. Thank you all. I need to contact support about it so that I can be like, hey, your thing's broken. Because also I looked, because I was like, what if I just bought another one? What would that look like? Maybe they have a sale right now, and they do. And I wasn't really very seriously considering it, but then I looked and I saw that they were saying they are advertising 1-year warranty. Now, I thought you needed to register to get it, but I think I was just misreading it, or they changed it. Either way, I'm still under warranty. So now I feel very comfortable messaging support. So what I did was I messaged them roughly 10 minutes ago. And we'll see if they respond. Put the tree up. Cabrera, thank you for the 10th. Let's see here. Boot and votes for tonight's episode may be spoiled. Good to know. It was fun talking to Manu. Christine, thank you for the 28th. Noel with 13. Nowhere Man with 46. Laura with 45. Thank you all. Kendall with 20. Still mostly like working on getting the whole setup correct, functional, so hopefully everything is working properly. Ashk, thank you for the 8th. Bearsy with 16. I'd love to just like do a quick stream to talk about the Traders Canada. Richie, thank you for 44th. But for now, let's try to avoid spoiling. If possible. Magic, thank you for the 29th. Kansas with 42. We should get the episode started soon. Let's do a prediction. Commercial by 512. Yes, no. William, thank you for the 7th. And Townham, thank you for the 13th. Irie, thank you for the 36th. Blue Daisies with 22. Thank you, thank you. Nora with 46. Thank you. Cinderelli with 62 months. Lightning's Angel with 11. Any thoughts on Twitter versus Blue Sky? Listen. I think I only tweeted out on Blue Sky for this stream right now. I'd love for Blue Sky to work. Ever since the rate limit stuff, I've been looking for a viable alternative because my Twitter is just permanently broken. I can't click on a single link. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. Lana, thank you for the 27th in a row. But Blue Sky works. I can click on things again. It's nice. Granted, I don't use it, but I didn't really use Twitter either. I keep thinking like at some point I'm gonna like follow some people on Blue Sky and like set it up. All right, we're about to start here. We're on. I think it's. Are you hearing this? I think you're hearing this. Yes. Are you hearing it like through my mic? Yeah, you're hearing it through my mic. I think I probably am playing it at a louder volume because I have the treadmill going. Swap to headphones. So what do you think of the 16th? Ooh. Becca, thank you. I'm hearing popping. Tweedledee.
As I'm on this island, I'm gonna fight.
It's supposed to be 2/3, so that's right. Okay, let's let maybe we'll keep cooking like that a little bit more. Here, I'll do. I practiced making rice before this like once. I'm actually so not a cook. Really, at this point, no one is as close as so impressed by you. We've also been running the game and no one's realized it. As a duo, we have
Okay. I think you can hear me again, which is something. Just in time for the commercial. Except I can't turn the audio off. My Okay, I might need to restart the computer. My audio software is just wrecked. Prediction is yes. Next prediction. Challenge? Yes, no. So here's the thing. I got a new audio setup. In some ways, it's very nice. It's a lot better than what I had before. It's just been a bit buggy, the software. JV, thank you for the 14th in a row, and Arrow, thank you for the 36th. So I messaged their support. They told me, hey, can you install the new beta release? And I was like, sure. I did that, and boy, was that a mistake because it is just not functional right now. I can barely click on anything. I have no control over my audio. Oh boy. It seems to be okay right now. So we'll keep this going. But oof. Okay, so basically Genevieve's trying something. Teeny not having it. Fairly standard for what you'd expect with the setup, the structure of the game right now. But you'd have to imagine that Andy's looking to do something. It's just like, what can he really do right now? The numbers aren't really there. All the advantages are on the other side. I really wish I could mute my audio right now because the commercials are very distracting. Can I mute it in browser? That's yeah, that's what I did. That's ooh, beat you to it. Ooh. Good suggestion, but I was already there. Oof. Anyway, we're back. And there's a challenge. Okay, so I'm hearing that there was a pre-screening, that there's spoilers for the episode, so I'm gonna have to get creative, I think, moving forward. Where good things happen. All right, I think I'm going to stop the treadmill so that I can hear the show better. Also, they haven't responded to my support request. All right, how's this for a prediction? I rethought it. I was going to say, how many times does Jeff say balls? But that would have just been a nightmare. I mean, his strategy under that net was way better for sure. More painful, I imagine. Would it be a nice victory for nobody else? Is it just a nice victory for Sam? Oh. Pizza and pasta. What? I will say, I feel like letters not nearly as big a deal as like a visit. Like I'd happily be like nah to a letter. Like I can get a letter in 5 days or whatever. But a visit, that's different. That's like that's a shared experience with a loved one on the show on the island. I guarantee you, Andy said that to try to minimize the damage to his own game. Picking Genevieve. This is just your minority vote. I mean, I guess you could try to lock in Andy and then see if you can flip one more. But like, where are you getting that flip? Is it coming from Teeny? Because that doesn't look super likely at the moment. I like Teeny raising their hands. I mean, Teeny basically saying what I just said. Which, interestingly, the fact that it gets to be voiced, you kind of let it out a little bit. This feels like misdirect. This feels too obvious. My feeling is um, they have a pretty clear voting block. They have a pretty clear minority. Usually in this spot, they're doing their best to make it seem like, well, but there's a chance. Instead, they keep hyping up like Genevieve tried and failed. Sam won the challenge and made a mistake. So it's possible they're setting us up for an actual flip. This is convincing me there's more of a chance of a flip than them trying to convince me that there's a chance of a flip. All right, next prediction. What kind of prediction can I make that couldn't be spoiled from a pre-screening of the episode? Hmm. Who do we see first? Overnighters? Back at campers. When the segment starts, who do we see first? Yeah, I tried to say this in the moment, but from my perspective, Sam picking Andy. Andy is then like, "Hey guys, that we're leaving behind, just so you know, we don't get along. This isn't a thing. Don't don't doubt me. I'm good." Man, woof, what a surprise. I'm so surprised that he picked me. I don't even know that just happened. And we are still, look, well, I mean, we're enemies in the game, but I guess, ooh, it just happens sometimes. Yeah, I'm surprised that they're focusing. I mean, I think the idea is probably that um Sue and Caroline are a duo. They're harder to flip. They're maybe more locked in with Rachel theoretically, but like I don't know if I'm. Nah, they don't really have that much of a. The problem is if you look at this game, like there's three locked in people that will beat you in the end, and they're Genevieve, Sam, and Rachel. And there's 7 people. It's like you'd have to get Teeny, Andy, Caroline, and Sue all together, minus Rachel, to take out everyone else. And if you have to take out everyone else, you might as well just side with the Rachel side for now and then take her out at 5 if you can. And then if she makes it, she makes it. I just don't know that I see much unless the assumption is wrong and Genevieve and Sam are not that big of a threat in the end game in the jury. All right, we're back. I did see the thing about MJ. We're looking at the overnighters. This feels like Genevieve's episode, right? Teeny's pissed. This is the most mad I've seen Teeny all season. He's the glue guy. See, it's interesting that Caroline is interested in taking out Andy before Rachel. And this is also why I felt like Andy needed to potentially do something earlier. Because this, and it's again, it's hard because you can't like go with the people that are going to beat you in the end. And you have a better shot against, you know, theoretically players like Sue and Caroline and Teeny. um, but I don't know. There's a lot that we don't know. There's like, it seems like Genevieve at the very least recognizes the threat that Rachel is, but I don't know if anybody else seems to at this point, which is maybe part of what's happening. Um, and then on top of that, like maybe because it really does feel like they're setting these women up right now for a fall. It just feels too Caroline. Yeah, okay. I thought I remembered that Caroline talking about Rachel being a threat. It's just where it's weird that she's so willing to go to four with her, where she has two chances between immunity and fire to get to three, and then just loses. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'd just rather be there with Andy. No, I feel like you. I mean, Andy's no necessarily no slouch either, but I'd rather be in the final three with Andy than Rachel if I had the chance. And it's not like he's crushing immunities. Um, yeah, in terms of this edit, it feels to me like they're trying to sort of. It's just all so it's lined up too perfectly. It feels too obvious. They told us last week what it was going to be, and all they've done this week is reinforce it. And it's just like they're usually a lot less forthright. I need a prediction. Another challenge, perhaps? I might have waited too long on that one. I'm just trying to see if we end up going back before the thing ends. All right, we're back. The editing here is great. Operation Italy. I mean, I think this either works or Rachel wins. I think it happens now. Or maybe Rachel wins immunity and it's Teeny that the plan works on. I I I really hope this works. This is the kind of thing that like Survivor doesn't usually work this way. It's tough. It's tough to try to do two things at once here. No to another challenge. Here's why it's tough. It's hard for Andy to simultaneously say, they pitched me, I didn't take it, I'm not down with them, Also, side note, one of them probably has an idol. What if we split the votes? Um, it's just a little tough, and I think you like it's not hard to do math to say if we split the votes, all it takes is one person to flip. And who have they been working on? Oh, Andy. Who suggested the vote split? Also Andy? Ooh. There's never a chance I'm doing that. Um so it I think hugely comes down to, is Andy able to play this off? Is his threat level low enough that they don't think he's capable of pulling like something pulling something off like this over them? Um Emo, thank you for the 5th month. Emo says it might be too cute. This is the thing. This is my thing. I want cute stuff to work. I get it. Things are too cute all the time. People get too complicated. They get too like oh, you know, like you thought you could play this like it's a chess game, but it's about relationships. Sometimes chess is fun. You know? I want this stuff to be able to work. I think it's fun. Yeah, Rachel should absolutely play a block a vote here. You can split the vote and play a block a vote and you're fine, I think. So there's really like not much here. I don't know what to do with the prediction for immunity, I'm not gonna lie. Because if there's spoilers out there, then Cito, thank you for the 41st. Well, let's just do our classic. Who gets second place? Sam, Andy, Genevieve, Rachel, Caroline, Sue, Teeny. Um, what happens if Sam or Genevieve win immunity? That's actually a good point. Yeah, there's just so many ways this doesn't work, is the problem. There's so many ways it doesn't work. Actually, in many ways, Rachel winning immunity here might be the best case for this plan, because Rachel winning immunity means she cares less about using that vote blocker because she's safe. We're back. And then you can just take out somebody else. Now, that still doesn't help you too much because now it's 3v3. Rachel has a vote blocker and an immunity idol. So taking out Rachel is pretty important in that sense. That's the other part of this plan, is that even if it works, it just leaves them at 3-3. balance, dexterity, and touch? Is touch a skill? Oh, does he mean like the touch? He literally said you will need touch. Am I losing my mind? Why aren't they holding it higher? Do they have a limit? They do. It's just some of them look like they were holding it lower than the others. Yeah, okay. There's a little handle. I'm glad he said it's tougher than it looks because it doesn't look that tough. Andy has no hustle. Rachel has lots of hustle. Into a tiny dimple. Why does he say the words he does? Rachel and Sam, either one of them winning ruins the plan. To some degree, at least. He's still on about touch. I will say, I'm still the fact that Rachel's in the lead makes me feel even more like Rachel wins immunity. The plan actually goes through and it just takes somebody out that's not Rachel, and Rachel still probably wins the show. Because the plan can go through, take out somebody other than Rachel. Then it's 3-3. Rachel has the block of vote. Rachel still wins. Second place is going to be hard. Yeah, I would give second place to Sam for getting there faster than anyone else. Rachel wins immunity. I'm feeling this. Because Rachel had that line earlier in the episode, like, oh, what happens when I win immunity? I was like, oh. I think this makes sense though. I think this makes it more likely for the thing to work. Okay. Plan should switch to Sue, probably. Sue, I think, is the least likely person to flip on a rock draw. Also, for what it's worth, Sue has an idol. I don't know if they know that, but... Okay. Update. Treadmill people messaged me back. They want a video. Let's do it. They're in love. The problem is it sometimes takes a while to start making the noise. Yeah, I think Rachel is locked in as the winner. Pretty close to it. Both with the edit and with just the game scenario right now. She's seen as a big jury threat, which means if she gets there, she has a great chance. She just won immunity at 7, which means she's 2 rounds away from fire. She has an idol for at least one of those rounds. She has a block a vote for another. And she's one of the best competitors left from what we've seen. And on top of that, she's had a great edit, especially post merge. So I feel pretty comfortable. Now I have to wait for it to make the noise again now. I guess I could just stand back up and walk on it again. It was a little faster than I thought it was. Prediction I'm giving to Sam. But we're already back, so we're going to skip this prediction, this next one. Caroline instead? See, I feel like Sue is the better one, but you could just let it be 3 on Sam. I mean, it's nah, yeah. Teeny, teeny, teeny. Hypothetical mysterious idol. It's counterfeit. All right, I'm getting a bit of rattle. I'm telling you, it's all like the entire season is fitting into place for me right now. Andy's edit builds up to this moment. Sam and Genevieve's edits lead up to this moment. The plan works, but Rachel still wins. Sue playing the idol? There's so much that Andy has to do to make this work. This is way more ways it can go wrong than go right. Um, in addition to everything else, it feels to me like Rachel is being protected the most in this edit. We're seeing her be like the most skeptical about the actual split vote plan. I feel like it works. I feel like it just works. If Rachel hadn't won immunity and they were about to vote out Rachel, I'd say I don't know. I don't see it with the edit, but I feel like it all lines up. So here's what you can do also. So let's do a last person to talk. Last person to speak before voting. So there's a thing you can do here, which is you can convince Rachel to not use the block a vote because it would be nice to have it at 6. Why is it nice to have it at 6? I don't know. He's somehow convinced her that there's a reason to have it at 6. But she's immune, so she doesn't need to be overly like use the block just in case you have something weird happen. There's a reason to keep your block a vote if you don't think you need it. You're immune this round. So you take that out of the equation for the most part. But then the other thing is, why don't we just tell Genevieve that we're voting for her and then not split the vote? But the thing you can do to potentially block that, if you haven't already, is if Andy was unable to convince Rachel in the moment, you could have Genevieve pull out her idol at Tribal and say, I'm playing this. And then you can go, she's bluffing. She's 100% bluffing. She's not going to play it. Why else would she bring it out in front of everyone? And then try to get the plan to change at the last minute. Then the other problem is Andy needs to be on the side of the majority vote, the 3. That's really hard. But if it's a last minute plan, it's a little easier. On top of that, you have this concern that, like, what if Sue plays her idol for Caroline? That would be wild. I don't really know why she would do that. If that happens, then like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You did your best. Um, yeah, the reason why I think this can work is that they've protected Rachel through it as much as possible, I think. Rachel still has block a vote. She still has an idol. Sue still has an idol after this. They have plenty of ammunition to defeat the other three moving forward. But they get to have this kind of like last hurrah with making this move. But we're back. Kyle looks pissed. Sue just smiling at Kyle. What is this subplot and why does it still exist? Sue has to make Final Three, right? You got to stop it with community, please. Did the sound mess up? Chat is covered. I think that was Genevieve, final person to speak. They're staring at her. What a play. I love it. I love it. Do it. This looks like a vote split to me. This looks like a vote split to me. Teeny knew. The grin. That was Andy. Andy flipped again. Yeah, the cherry on top there of the pretending that Jen just didn't play it. Phenomenal. I think that if Rachel doesn't win immunity there, that's a game-winning move. If it still works. But Rachel still having the block a vote, still having an idol, Sue still having an idol, there's just no way they make it through another vote. That said, it's still not the end of the world for Andy at that point, because as long as it's not Andy that takes the hit at 6, he's taking out Genevieve or Sam leaving is not bad for him. They're both jury threats. He just needs to get out Rachel at 5 or 4 and survive long enough to get to the final 3. Now he has this massive move on his resume. It's, I mean, I'm not out on Andy still winning. I just like I feel like it's all lining up for Rachel in my head, but like this still can very, very much work, even with the downsides of all of the advantages being against them. You do have to get Rachel out, though. I think that's the only way. All right, we're back. Man, I love Caroline. I feel like she got shafted so much with that edit. I feel like she was in the show, but I feel like there was just like so much more to her game that I feel like we probably didn't see. Clearly, she felt like she was going to win in the end. I think based on what we've seen, at least, she probably wasn't going to beat Rachel. Maybe she felt like she was going to be able to take Rachel out at 4. Um, but man, she would have come close. And again, like if Rachel doesn't win that immunity and this hit falls on Rachel, all of a sudden she's got 3 with an idol against another 3, and maybe she does win the game. Like, I feel like the edit has been telling us she doesn't win all season long, but that doesn't necessarily represent the reality that like she could have been very, very close. And then just because she didn't, because the cards fell on her here, she gets a completely different edit all season long. But what a fun way to like leave the game, to be like, man, I thought it through, and yeah, it was smart to take me out. Like, it's hard for people who feel like they had things wrapped, who felt like I really was going to win that game, to like quickly get over that. And so the fact that she was able to very quickly just be like, you know what, they got me. I thought I had it, but they got me, I think is really admirable. which is not to say that I don't love, people being petty on their way out either. I like it all, but I just really appreciated that response. People will hate Andy now. I don't know if people will hate Andy now. I think people already didn't like Andy. There were some people that already didn't like Andy. Like the reaction being Andy flipped again, I think is what you'd expect from the perception that already exists for Andy. So that's the thing for me, is that perception already exists. Already they seem to be like anti Andy to some degree at least. But what this move can do is, like, it wasn't just a flip, it was a whole planned, orchestrated thing. And that's going to maybe give you a little more respect for Andy. That's going to maybe have you think a little bit differently about Andy. You've got to try something. I think this move definitely gives him a better shot to win for sure. I think it's wild the amount of people that are still like the fact that Andy pulled this off, I think is such a testament to the game that he's playing. And I think that like there are still people who are just never going to forget that he's kind of an awkward dude. And I think that's sad for those people. But I think very clearly he has taken what he has and just played the absolute hell out of the game as much as he possibly can. And he's trying to, have as much fun with it as possible. And, I really appreciate what he's doing. Anyway, fun episode. I will say, like I said, it felt like, again, it all kind of came together for me in this episode, because last week we talked about how it seemed like it was such a straightforward stomp, and they don't usually show us that much information. I was like, why are they showing us so much? And it's because this came in. In some ways, I feel like it actually ended up signaling this too much for me. But it was still fun to watch. And now that the finale's coming up, I feel like solid way to close out the post-merge of a very good season, I felt. It wasn't too cute. So good stuff. Fun episode. I guess we have, correct me if I'm wrong, a 2-episode finale. I don't know why they're calling it this. Isn't the finale just 2 weeks from now instead of 1 week from now? Am I wrong? What makes it a 2-part finale? Why isn't it just the penultimate episode and then the finale? You can't call something a finale if it isn't the finale. That's what I feel. The summit is on. If you didn't check out my interview with Manu Bennett, check it out. He's been listening to the podcast all season long. We had a lot of critiques of the show, and what I thought was fun is that Manu was saying that the producers, or at least one of the producers, was like, they've got some good ideas. And this is the real finale for the summit. I can tell you, I have watched this. I liked the finale. I thought it was a good finale. I was not always on board with the summit all season long, but I thought it ended pretty well. Anyway, fun episode. I will be back next week. In the meantime, check out the weekend streams. Maybe some Goose Goose, maybe some Blood on the Clock Tower. Who knows? I don't know. It's not me. I don't know. Switch, thank you for the 13th. And I'm telling you, especially once I get my audio set up properly fixed, we're gonna have the soundbite tournament. We're gonna have some other streams. That's what we're gonna do. Prediction: I did not end up finishing. That's a good call. Correct me if I'm wrong. Genevieve, I believe, was the last person to speak before the vote. Yes, Genevieve. Okay. There it is. Big win for Genevieve betters. All right. Thanks again for hanging out, and I will see all of you next time.